What's going on, everyone? Give It Thought back here today, and I'm thinking about Dragon Quest XI again. This time we're getting a bit more speculative though, so keep that in mind as we go through this video. The topic of today's video will be exactly what was on the thumbnail. Will there be time travel in Dragon Quest XI? And the answer to that question, I think, is yes. Time travel isn't a foreign concept to video games. This year's Quantum Break kind of showed that. And it's not something the JRPG genre hasn't tackled before. All you need to do is look at Chrono Trigger for that. Just because time travel has been used in games before doesn't mean that it's not a rich landscape for storytelling, and I think Dragon Quest can make good use of it. One way that I think it will differentiate from Chrono Trigger is that whereas Chrono Trigger's time travel was technology based, I think Dragon Quest's will be magic based. Because this year marks the 30th anniversary for the Dragon Quest series, the development team for the game has been really embracing their roots lately. Dragon Quest Builders, which I did a video on last week, takes place in the same area as the first game. And the 3DS version of Dragon Quest XI features the 2D pixel art style perspective of the original games. The best piece of evidence I could find for my theory was in an interview with Yuji Horii, the creator of Dragon Quest. He said, "We're putting a heavy emphasis on the 30th anniversary. The story itself has the theme of time. Of course, that could mean a lot of things, the passing of time, yada yada. But here, I think we have the great potential for a time travel story." When asked about the 3DS version in that same interview, Yuji Horii said, "It's pretty interesting that you can play the game in 2D pixel form, right?" I think he's hinting at a time travel scenario. Why else would he bring that up, it being interesting that you could play it in the old style? I think that's a really good piece of evidence. And it's not that the quote is informative really, it's the word choice, interesting. There's a particular vagueness in that word that I think really hints at what's to come. Another piece of evidence is the orientation of the logo. In Dragon Quest XI, the dragon is facing towards the left, meaning backwards. This would not be necessarily important if it weren't for the logo of the first game being a mirror image of this logo. This could be just a looking back on the series, but I don't think so. Not necessarily anyways. I think the looking back part will be literally traveling through time in the series. As in Dragon Quest XI, you will revisit other games, or at least their timelines. There is also the emptiness of the castle in the PS4 footage we've seen so far. Of course, this could just be representative of an alpha build of the game, but this is all we have to go on. The castle in this footage seems abandoned. In contrast, the 3DS version has people running around. We can see the armor and weapon vendor is unattended, and the flags that hang on the walls are tattered. And the further he moves through the castle, the more abandoned it seems. And then, as the player moves outside, we see more ruins of castles, or at least a fortification. This evidence is the least important, I think, but stacked up with all the other stuff, I think it becomes supplemental. Because the castle is abandoned, I think we're seeing it in a future form. For whatever reason, I think the hero will be thrust through time into the future. And this is where we're seeing him in the PS4 footage. In the 3DS version though, I think we're seeing him in the past before he goes through time, which explains the number of people around. I don't know, it's just a theory, but it seems to have a little bit of weight behind it at least. And that's about all I have for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe, especially if you love Dragon Quest as much as I do. I will be covering it regularly, so be sure to check back with me. And if you enjoyed this video, check out the video I made a couple weeks ago about the details of Dragon Quest XI that we know so far. Alright, that's it everyone. Thanks for watching, and remember, give thought to everything.